Hi folks, I'm Aslin Blow. Welcome to another episode of Savour the Flavour. Today, as you all know, we are in the land down under in Australia with Anna Jane, or Conjure Up Anna Jane. Conjure Up Foods is Anna Jane's brand, but we'll learn more about that in a little bit. Now we've got Michelle Rybel as well as Candy Javier Sakai joining us on the panel today. Now, before we go to Anna Jane in her kitchen, let's go say hello to Candy first. Candy, a quick hello from you.
Thank you very much, Aslin, for the last 2 weeks show. It was a blast, and I'm really honored for that, and looking forward for the next.
Great, great. As you all know, Candy cooked for us last week in Japan, from Japan. And yeah, we're looking forward to your next show too. Right, now we're going to go over to France. Candy's in Japan, Michelle is in France. Hi, Michelle.
Oh, bonjour tout le monde. Hello, everybody. It's 1 o'clock here, and I'm Michel from France. But now you must know I've put for this special event my shirt made in Australia, because for those who don't know, I grew in Brisbane, in the northeast of Australia, just a little bit, well, above Sydney, there where you are, Anna Jane, right?
Excellent.
Yep.
Thank you, Michelle. Right, now we shall go to the chef of the half hour, Anna Jane Dalton, isn't it?
That's exactly right.
We call her AJ. Right, everybody, meet AJ. AJ, tell us tell us a little about yourself and what you're going to be cooking for us.
Well, thanks for having me on, Aslin. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a Fijian dish, and it's called Kokoda. It's spelled Kokoda. But in Fijian language, what happens is that when you have a D with a vowel before it, there's an N that you can't see. Therefore, it becomes Kokoda, not Kokoda. So Kokoda is a lovely, it's one of the better known dishes of Fiji. And the reason that I'm cooking something that's from Fiji is because I have an absolute passion for Fiji, and I've been going there since I was a child. And it's a very, very it's not a well-known cuisine, but they are the epitome of people who work with good, fresh, local produce. Now, having said that, I think we talked on the recipe. Basically, this is fish cooked in lime. So it's not dissimilar to a ceviche, but it is it's quite different when you taste it. So you can usually, the Fijians would use a chunky white fish like mahi-mahi or walu, or in Australia ling, but something that's a chunky fish.
Okay.
Although I love doing it with fish, today I thought that I would do it with some beautiful Australian salmon, some beautiful Australian prawns, and some beautiful Australian scallops. So it just makes it a little bit different, but I've done this before and it really is quite delicious. So it's a very simple dish, and you should ask me questions if you have any.
I love the idea that you've mixed it up with other seafood. So you said you've got salmon, scallops,
and beautiful Australian salmon, scallops, and Australian prawns.
Okay,
and they're just.
Needless to say, as you said, it resembles a ceviche. So presumably, you really have to get the freshest seafood you can get.
You must. You must. And I always say to people, if you're buying seafood, when you smell it, it should smell of the sea. If it smells of anything else, don't touch it, because it isn't fresh. So what you'd need to do is you'd need to get your scallops, and as you would know, the scallops have this little row on it, the orange row. Because we're going to be, I take that off because that's just the way I like it. There's nothing wrong with leaving it on. Most people take it off. I have cooked with it on. I quite like the flavour of it. But you'll see there's a little membrane when you pull it off, and it cleans the scallop beautifully. So you just do that,
Well, while you're doing
And
that,
then,
well, I was going to say
yes.
while you're doing that, we'll just say hello to Anzef in the Philippines and Morris in the US who've just said hello and who are excited.
Oh, that's exciting. I must say I'm absolutely fascinated by how international Google is.
Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? Yes, and
It's quite extraordinary.
It is, and I have to say that it is our group, our Savour the Flavour, who tends to be a little bit more international than most people, right?
Oh, is that right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, so it's very, very simple. You literally get a bowl, which I've got here, and you need the juice of 3 or 4 limes. Now, what you need to understand is I'm a great believer when you're cooking, if you're not doing pastry or sweets or something that is absolutely a science, you need to judge what quantities a little bit, okay? I've allowed about 150 grams of seafood per person, and I'm using 4 limes. And the other thing I meant to say to you too is you'll notice that the limes I've got are quite yellow. There's a reason for that. Everybody goes for the green limes, but it's the yellow ones that are really, really juicy. And your fruit providor will adore you if you buy them because you're getting rid of ones that people don't tend to buy. But you get an enormous amount of juice out of them, and so it's great. Now, another variation on this that you may or may not like is that quite often and I haven't done it today, but I do in other times, quite often I'll infuse this juice with some chili, some garlic, some ginger, some really beautiful Asian flavors.
Okay, great. I was
Sorry?
thinking I need to get that lime squeezer.
Oh, do you not have these?
No, I'm still doing the old-fashioned way on the
Exactly, me too.
Oh.
I was saying the same to myself.
I suspect
when I make key lime pie, I'll do 3 and then I'll go, George, that'll be my husband, go do the rest of the limes for me, please.
This is a classic case of me wishing I'd invented something. And they're very smart because what they've done is they've got a yellow one for lemons, an orange one for oranges, and a green one for limes.
Why are you using the yellow one?
I'll have to get some over to you.
Oh, yeah.
So basically what you do is you take your seafood, you can see there I've got quite a bit of juice from the limes, and you literally just put your seafood in. The seafood will cook in the lime. And it's really so delicious. Now, the recipe that I put up said that you should possibly, do it for 24 hours. When you're doing lighter seafood like this, it isn't actually necessary. A couple of hours will do it. This is all seafood that we would eat raw anyway if we were having sashimi or something, so it's not a big deal. Look at this salmon. It is really so beautiful.
It is an amazing color, isn't it? So because you've got a lot of citric acid, citrus juice there, we would want a glass container or a ceramic container. We don't want to go for any metallic container.
Absolutely. That's a really, really good point, Aslan. You need something that's non-reactive. If you put the lime juice in the metal, you'll get a nasty, nasty flavour. Don't always use glass or ceramic when you're using lime juice. So we'll put that in there, and I'm a hand user. Put it in here, and you leave that for a couple of hours, and you'll end up with something quite fabulous. Now, I've always wanted to say this. Here's some I've prepared earlier. So, you can see here, if you compare, this has started to go already, but if you compare the colour, can you see the difference? This is cooked in lime juice, this is not.
Yes, it's a little bit more opaque, isn't it? The one that's
very opaque, yeah. And with your prawns. Can you see the same thing?
Definitely, yeah.
Now, I've literally just done that for an hour and a half, and I find that on really fresh seafood it goes very, very quickly.
Okay.
So, now, what you would then do is you've got your seafood, and it's really lovely. I leave the lime juice in there, and I leave the lime juice in there because it just gives it that zestiness that I think is really nice. Now, you need to use a good quality coconut cream, and again, I said a cup, but you may not need a cup, okay? So just judge it. You don't want it to be completely, and I'm using my hands again.
Now, I think lots of people at this stage probably got a question here because it is coconut milk. Well, actually, you said cream.
No, it's coconut cream.
So it is coconut cream.
It needs to be cream. Pardon me?
Not milk, then. It is coconut cream because there is a difference if it's packed.
Yes, there is a difference. And this is much thicker. But you can...
Hey, that's not fair.
Oh, it's so good. I cannot tell you. But there's still more to do.
It's too early. It's 9 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday for you. You can't have any seafood.
I can, and I will. So, the other thing that I think you can put anything you like in this. I like coriander. It just is. People joke about the fact that I never go shopping without coriander, and you know the truth is, Australia is quite extraordinary because we have a very, very multicultural society, and part of the joy of that is being a new country and only being a couple of 100 years old. Our cuisine is so influenced by every other country that there's a lot of freedom to cook whatever you like, which is lovely. Now, the other thing that you do with this is you put in some onion. So I put some coriander in with the, as you can see.
Okay, let's move that plate. AJ, let's move that plate slightly to your right because it's being hidden by the thumbnails. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Put it back towards you a little bit.
Yep, no problem. Is that better?
Yep, that's much better.
Okay, now the other thing we need to do is put a bit of onion, and you need to dice the onion.
And you've got
red onion. I like red onion when I'm doing something that's cold.
Yeah.
And I like it because I think it's got a sweeter flavour.
Yes.
We call these Spanish onions, but I don't know what they're called overseas.
They do. They do work better in salads. If you're going for raw onions, it's definitely red that you want to go for, in my opinion.
Well, that's right. Yes, and you know, I think it's all a matter. And cooking is one of these things that you should be tasting all the way along, because then you can tell if you need some more salt, or you need this, or you need that. And if you're not tasting as you go along, I guarantee you're going to have a dish that may be missing something.
Maurice, me in the US, has just posted a picture of you, AJ, taken from his, what's that? Is that an iPad, Maurice? And he wants to know if you brought enough for the rest of the class.
Oh, if only. If only, if only, if only. Now I'm going to...
So that plate, is that covered completely by the cream? Do you prefer it like that?
Well, I haven't added that much. It's just, unfortunately, I wasn't thinking, and I put it in a white plate, so it looks...
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, no, it's okay.
Okay, but I also didn't bring the right size mixing bowl, so I'm just going to change it to another plate. That was a major blonde beginner's error. But there we go. So I put half an onion in there.
Loving the
and I might just do the other half.
Oh,
otherwise I may not use it.
I am still going to be making this dish.
So then the other thing that you do is you top this with tomato and with some capsicum. or I believe you guys call these bell peppers. We call them capsicum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we call them capsicum too. So okay, so you've had the seafood marinating. How you gave it only what, an hour and a half? What did you do?
I did an hour and a half with that because it was so fresh. I knew that it would cook instantly.
Yeah.
The acidity would.
Okay, so we've had the so AJ's marinated the seafood with the lime juice for about an hour and a half. She then did you drain the seafood, AJ?
No, I did not.
Okay.
You want the zestiness of that lime.
Okay. So
in my opinion,
she then added coconut cream to the seafood and the marinade. And she's added some chopped up coriander. She's got some red onions in there and some capsicum and some tomatoes, right?
I have not put the tomatoes and capsicum in. And the reason I've not done that is because I want to scatter them on the top.
Okay.
So that it presents nicely.
Okay. No.
But ultimately, you would mix it through.
Okay. No other flavorings like garlic and, or you did say earlier,
no.
Sometimes you do that, don't you? You add ginger and...
Well, quite often, because I'm just the way I am and I have no discipline and I'm not good with recipes, quite often I will infuse the lime juice before I cook the seafood.
Okay.
So if you infuse it with lemongrass and coriander and chili and garlic, and then you cook it, you get another layer of flavour.
Mm.
It's not better, it's not worse. This is much more traditional.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I forgot a spoon. Bear with me.
Okay, while Anna Jane goes off and gets a spoon, Michelle, why don't you tell us a little about what wines will go with this Kokoda?
Okay, folks, if you want. But before, I should say there's a big difference between what you're doing here, there in Australia, and Jane, and in the Fiji Islands. I should say that in the Fiji Islands, you would be with a bikini in the kitchen. Yeah, I'm sorry.
With the coconut
dreaming.
shells.
You know, yeah.
Oh my Lord.
The coconut
oh
shells.
My God.
The remaining coconut shells. Yeah. All right. Well.
Strategically positioned.
You know, at 1.5, you know, I'm starting dreaming, you know, so sorry for that.
Okay.
It's just coming
Back
out.
to the wine.
Yeah, the wine. So, Anna Jane in the green room was talking about a Pinot Gris. We can't say Tokay anymore. Did you know that, Anna Jane? We can't. We lost the name of Tokay because.
No, I did not know that.
Oh yeah, Austrians got it back. It's an old history, so we can't call it anymore Tokay. We have to call it Pinot Gris. So a Pinot Gris is a lovely yellow gold or even amber color, as you can see here. Voila, look at that. I'm still on it. I'm sorry, folks, but I had to taste it before, and generally less intense than a Riesling, for example, because a Riesling is dry, more dry, yet with great aromatic complexity. Pinot Gris often develops distinctive smoky notes, aromas of forest flower, burnt vine shoots, and gingerbread also, or honey or apricot. Well, it depends. I don't know in Australia. For you, you say crisp. Crisp. Is that right, Anna Jane?
It's, well, I'm just tasting some here.
Okay, chin chin, skilled as we say. Okay.
Yes. It's got a sweetness but an acidity to it.
Yeah. And a perfect
and it's
acidity.
Very nice. Now I'm just about ready to plate up.
Okay, let's see you plating it up.
So basically, I've chosen to use a glass because I think it always presents nicely. But you could use coconut shells if you have them.
if you don't use them for
That's with
something
you.
else. Exactly.
Michelle Ribel, you are a very naughty man.
I'm a guy.
And she says it. She said that with a very lovely, sexy accent. Michelle Ribel, you are a very naughty man.
Of course, ladies.
Okay, so essentially, I should have done that and said this is one I prepared earlier, shouldn't I?
No, that's okay.
Never mind.
But I like to serve seafood stuff on scallop shells. I think they're quite pretty to look at.
Yes, you could do that also. You could also do that. For me, I'm very much I look at how it's going to look on my table.
Mm.
And I guess having spent so much time in Fiji and things, I'm a little bit... Okay. So
I'm just going to
basically you would put that...
I'm just going to answer
Yes.
a quick question. Michelle Price, the bell, it's just bell pepper. We know it as capsicum. You guys would call it bell pepper. It's, those fruity, mild ones. Yeah. Okay, back to you. So you're just placing the bell pepper, slices of bell pepper on the top there.
I put tomato, and then I put the bell pepper, and there you have what should be a very, very
Can you
delicious.
come around on this side of the table and show us the dish, AJ?
Yes.
Is there space between the table and
Of course I can. Here I come.
but we've lost the camera. We've lost the camera. Michelle, turn the camera app off and see what happens.
Michelle, what have you done?
Yeah, Michelle, what did you do, Michelle? Take your hands off the camera app, Michelle.
It
No,
says Michelle
AJ,
Michelle Ribel open capture smile.
Yeah, we seem to have lost your camera actually, so that's a shame. Michelle, can you just...
Okay, I'm back.
There we are. Okay.
Okay, got me?
Okay. All righty.
Okay, so you can see here.
Oh, wow.
Can you see that clearly or not?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Okay, so I'll get out of it, and then you can get one
Oh,
with.
that's awesome.
That's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
beautiful.
it is, and the reason that I did this is because we're about to go into spring, and you guys are about to go into autumn, but I thought this is a lovely sort of last summer kind of dish.
You guys, I'm back. I have right. So you say it's an autumn dish.
Well, no, I think it's it's an all through summer dish. It's a spring dish. It could be an autumn dish. Probably I wouldn't serve it in winter.
No, definitely.
But now look, it's beautiful any day of the week, any time of the year, to be honest, as long as you're getting the best produce that you can to work with.
So what would you serve it as a starter, AJ?
I would serve it as a starter unless I wanted just a light lunch. I'd usually do it as a starter, but if I were doing it as a starter, I'd probably do it, I'd make it a little bit smaller.
Okay.
Like less seafood.
Okay.
I think. But it's it's a really nice, it's a good combo. It's just a pleasure to eat. And the thing is with Fiji, it's got all this interesting culture. Because you've got a very strong Indian culture and a strong native culture, the two collide, and so you get curries and things that are really quite different, and it's a different flavour base to Indians. So it's interesting.
Yes, definitely.
I think you should all travel there at some stage.
When I think of Fijian food, I must confess that I do think of curries. That's what I
Oh, do you?
I do. That's what I identify Fijian food as. Well, you know, I
When you receive this, you will taste a Fijian curry.
okay. Tell us about that, conjurer. Tell us about that, AJ. Perfect timing. Go on. Tell us all about that. What you were holding just now.
Oh, the curry?
Yes. Tell us about conjure up
Yeah.
foods. Tell us about conjure up foods.
Okay, well, conjure up food is something that I came up with because what I want, there are a lot of people out there just ordering takeaway food, and it's full of things that you would not normally put in your mouth, but you don't know they're there. So what I wanted was an option for people to be able to eat quickly, just as quickly as takeaway food, healthily, and to get amazing flavour. And so what I've done is essentially into one of these cans, I've got 4 products. For instance, this is the bolognese. So into that, I have packed my recipe in dehydrated form, including lovely bay leaves and that sort of thing. So you literally, with all of the products, you would add protein, whether it be meat or lentils or whatever you choose, the product, some water. I did this the other day in a demonstration, and we had a meal on the table in 12 minutes, and it was delicious.
Wow.
So the idea is there are no additives, no preservatives. There is absolutely nothing artificial in here and no numbers in the ingredients. And I'm very selective about where I source things from. So it's a really lovely, healthy alternative, and it's clever, but at the same time, people need to trust the product, and just when you try it, you'll understand. This one here is actually the Fijian curry. And Aslan, you'll appreciate this. You know how when you buy dried curry leaves, they're tasteless, completely tasteless.
Right.
So this is a problem. If you can't get fresh ones, you need dried ones. But what I've done is I've hand-dried all the curry leaves. I pick them and hand-dry them. And that way, because they're not chemically dried, because they're just naturally hung, they really retain the flavour.
Wow.
So I supply the curry leaves with the curry as well.
Wow. That's really, really
cool. So anyway, I don't want to take over the world, but I do want people to be able to eat really easily and healthily.
Sure, absolutely. I agree with that. So AJ basically has her own range. I think you've got, what have you got now? 4 or 5, AJ?
I've started with 4, but I have about another 8. But we're just going to go with 4 for the time being. Okay. And this is bolognese. This one is amazing Fijian curry. You know how you shouldn't have favourite children? I think this is my favourite child. This is lovely. This is very northwest African, probably closer to Senegal than anywhere else. And it's, well, you can't smell it, but it's got the most amazing, there are about, 25, 28 things in that. And that's terrific as a ras el hanout, so it's great as a dry marinade, as a wet marinade. Mix it with some verjuice or mix it with some olive oil, some lemon juice, a little bit of sugar. You can use it in tagines, you can use it in anything. And, this one. People love this, they get so addicted to it. With this one, it is called Made for Mince. You literally throw mince in with this and water or stock, and you will get a perfectly balanced Middle Eastern sausage.
Wow, fantastic. That's really great. And AJ's products are at the moment only available in Australia. So, but,
Yeah, because the postage is a killer.
Yes, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, well, we might get a distributor in the US and in England, and that would make me happy.
Well, there you go.
Or someone to market under license or something. Well, but essentially, the way I cook is the way I am. It's always simple, but it's with the best ingredients,
Sure. I think
one handbag, make it a good one.
I think most discerning food bloggers are. I cringe every time I see someone open up a packet and blog about it, or open up a can and blog about it.
And that it's interesting that you say that, because as the foodies who've tried this, they've been quite reticent to try it because they thought, oh, it comes from a can. But once they do, they're like, wow, like nothing else, fabulous.
Because there's nothing added to it. It is the finished product dehydrated, well, minus the protein and whatever we need to add to it. Well, yeah. That was good. Not only did you get to see a recipe, you got to know AJ better, AJ and Conjure Up Foods, because you will be seeing more of AJ in the near future, but more of that later on. Now that was Anna Jane Dalton in Australia cooking Kokoda, a Fijian. There you go, a Fijian type. There we are, a Fijian type ceviche with coconut cream and lime juice. Really, really was delicious. Now, let me just get to the panelists and Anna Jane, let them say goodbye to you before I tell you what's coming up next weekend. Right, Candy, we'll start off with you if you'd like to say goodbye.
Yeah, I'd like to say, well, this dish is really nice, and especially in Japan, you can get fresh seafoods, and I have to try it. And I'd like to try this for my daughter's next week's wedding. Okay?
Ooh, oh yeah.
Yes, and this is a good recipe that I'm going to give her for her party. That's why. And thank you for this.
Fantastic. Candy's daughter's getting married next weekend, so she's.
Oh.
Yes, and this is for her, and this is a great chance.
She's a very nervous mom right now. Right, Michelle?
Jane, as you know, I love you, mate. You're a great cook, and I love what you do, so, well, I'm going to bed now.
Oh, and thank you so much for staying up so late, guys.
And I'm still continuing dreaming, you know, with these coconut shells around me. It's amazing. You're all making me dream. I'm dreaming. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
I don't want to wake up. I don't want to wake up anymore.
Stop it now. Stop dreaming, Michelle. Throw the coconut shells away now, Michelle. Right, AJ.
Yes.
AJ, it's been good having you, AJ. Tell us if you've got anything coming up in the near future before saying goodbye.
Yes. I've got some stuff on radio next week, but I'll send through a link for that. Look, there's always so much going on. I'm looking forward to cooking more, Aslan, and I'm really excited at the prospect. So, and I want to do things that are easy for people to do, because cooking shouldn't be stressful. It should be an absolute joy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the absolute truth. It should be a joy. Well, you will be seeing AJ more regularly on her show, my show. We'll talk about it later. But Savour the Flavour, we'll be back next weekend. Back to our regular slot of Sunday. We had to do Saturdays because we were in Australia today and Japan last week. Savour the Flavour will be back for a very, very special show next Sunday. It will be our farewell summer party. And we're going to get all the previous chefs who've cooked with us on, and we're going to open it up to the audience, and you guys get a chance to play Truth or Dare with us. Ask any question you'd like to in the comment stream running up to the event itself and on the day of the event. Okay? So that's what we're doing, but more of that when the event gets created and as usual in the trailer. So thank you so much for watching. Michelle, thank you so much for staying up until what it is, 1:30 in the morning.
Please, can I just one word, please, because I can't reply. I don't know what's happening. And Yvonne was asking for the wine. What's the difference between a Tokay Pinot Gris, a Pinot Gris, and a Pinot Grigio? The same, Yvonne. It's the same grape, but as you know, wine are all different. from each country. So you should taste.
So Italian version.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you for that, Michelle. Right, you all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, and we shall see you again next weekend. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Right, this is going to take a while because we need to turn that camera app off first. This reminds me of Casa Chiesi. Let's try that again. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye bye. Au revoir.